start. We are Kumari, Sunrise Ceremony people. We're here today to pay homage to our elders past and present. Also pay traditional respects to the bloodlines and the connection to the Sky Spirit. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Here we go.
Galanji, that was beautiful. Good morning and welcome to the WugulOra Morning Ceremony. I am Curly Saunders, and I would like to welcome both the live audience here today at Barangaroo in Sydney and those who have tuned in to ABC TV around the nation. It's a pleasure to stand with my mob today, my First Nations communities, as a proud Gunai woman on Gadigal lands, and to honour the resilience and strength of our continuation for 60,000 plus years, especially on this day, a day of mourning, a day which our communities know as Invasion Day or Survival Day. It's an honour to be your Master of Ceremonies this morning. WugulOra is a proud initiative of the New South Wales Government and Australia Day Council of New South Wales in partnership with the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council. At first light this morning, the Sydney Opera House sails were lit with powerful artwork by proud Gamilaroi woman and artist Rhonda Sampson. Rhonda's artwork, the Yarn Waran, represented the importance of First Nations women around the waters of Waran, now called Sydney Cove. These waters were known as the women's domain, where we would fish, camp, and provide for family. Included in her artwork are symbols depicting trailblazing matriarchs, Barangaroo, Burong, Padagarang, and Doringa, alongside the eel dreaming story. The harbour has always been integral to the everyday lives of many clans, including the Gadigal and Dharawal, and it's important that we continue to share these stories. Thank you, Rhonda, for your important contribution this morning. Where is she? Give her that big clap. Yeah! It's beautiful. On behalf of Mr. Andrew Parker, Chairman of the Australia Day Council of New South Wales, I would like to welcome this morning's ceremony, Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beasley, Governor of New South Wales, and Mr. Dennis Wilson. The Honourable Dominic Perrottet, Premier of New South Wales. The Honourable Ben Franklin, Minister for Aboriginal Affairs, the Arts, Regional Youth and Tourism. The Honourable Mark Courret, Minister for Multiculturalism and Minister for Seniors. Mr. Chris Minns, State Leader of the Opposition. The Honourable Linda Burney, Federal Minister for Federal Minister for Indigenous Australians, for all of us. Yeah, the Honourable Tanya Plibersberg.
Leader, Mr. Chris Minns, MP, Ministers from State and from the Federals, Mr. Andrew Parker, the New South Wales Australia Day Council members, Nathan Moran, fellow board members of the Metro Land Council, dignitaries, sisters, brothers, gender fluid and gender neutral. I stand before you as a sovereign Wiradjuri woman. I also represent my children and my grandson, who have a bloodline to the sovereign Bidjigal people of La Perouse. None of us have ever ceded our rights. My name is Yvonne Weldon. I am from Cowra, here in New South Wales. My ancestral bloodlines connect all along the waters and the lands of the Clare, which later became known as the Lachlan, and of the Murrumbidgee rivers. This here is ground zero. There aren't any proven traditional owners, and I am a representative and also the elected Deputy Chairperson of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, who are the culture authority under the Aboriginal Land Rights Act for the land and waterways we are on. The first impact of colonisation was invaded on Eora country. I pay homage to the clans of the Eora Nation, who suffered first for all Aboriginal nations. I pay my respects to all elders, past and present, to all First Nations and to all nations from this country and across the globe. On this day, 235 years ago, my people, the world's oldest continuous culture, practiced what we always have for over 65,000 years. But on these waterways, other people's journeys entered these waters and our lands with foreign words, beliefs and weapons. Not for sharing, but for controlling, to take through brutality. Not given, not settled, not invited. The commencement of devastation through genocide, disease and trauma. The start of cycles that continue today. These cycles linger in the loss of my people's lives, through death, through incarceration, through the acceptance of justifying the behaviours and the treatments. Just as it is done in terms of biases rather than calling what it is, racism. And yet we are still here, still practicing, still trying to stay alive, still willing to walk with others that don't walk with us. My people's traditions are varied in our diversity across our lands, our dance, our ceremony and our welcomes. The continuous link of life, lessons, purpose and nurturing supplies. Honouring our ancestors' footsteps, we are all walking in to make prints of our own, to become the ancestors of the future. Continuing the practice of the many generations before us to the many generations to come, where we lived in unison with all. The landscapes of this country tells the stories of our culture, our history and our boundaries. The Eora Nation's boundaries are the Hawkes River in the north, the Nepean in the west and the Georges River in the south. On behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, the elders and the members, I welcome everyone to the land of the Gadigal. I acknowledge the Gadigal people, whose spirits and ancestors will always remain with this land, our Mother Earth. It is important to remember and to acknowledge the massacres that took place. All those people that aren't remembered by name, but are mourned in our souls. The many warriors such as Paddy Garang, Pemaway, Barangaroo and Warindadine, and so many of our unsung hero warriors. We need to get history right. It cannot be about symbolism of enshrining if the condemnation of disrespect continues. Walking for my people is one thing, but don't take any further steps unless you are brave and you are honest enough to concede that my people can lead too. You can walk with us and not just for us. Metaphors or tokenism cannot change the truth of this country. This is sovereign lands of hundreds of nations and clans. If we don't align, we will not truly create a collective future. Standing strong, First Nations, all of this nation. Working together as one community and achieving as one community. We must commit to making a positive difference. Think about the difference you need to and can make that will become the milestones of our future, all our futures. To make that future possible, let us all draw upon my people's spirits as we continue on our journey. May my people's spirits walk with you and guide you. And on behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, welcome to Gadigal land. Before time began, we were here. We still are. We have survived. And this always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you.
Yalanji Yvonne, I acknowledge Miunani, Gunanugang, Gadigal, Madungboring Yelling Yungle. I too acknowledge the Gadigal people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beazley, Governor of New South Wales.
Wujiri Gamarua, Dian Babana Gamarada, Gadigal Nara. Yvonne, thank you not only for your welcome, but for your wisdom. I pay my respects to the traditional owners of the lands across our state and our nation as I greet you and have greeted you in the language of the Gadigal, the traditional owners of this land where we are this morning. Elders, Premier, Ministers, state and federal, Leader of the Opposition, Senator, special guests, Yora Butcheri, which means in the Gadigal language, good people. Let us hope that is all of us. WugulOra, as the first significant major ceremony of today, is a celebration of an ancient culture and a history which is written in the landscape and is embedded in the ageless traditions of art, song and dance. For the past 20 years, as we've heard, this ceremony, now with its home at Barangaroo, has centred us as Australians and reminds us that the belonging signified by those words, WugulOra, one mob, is the connection we have with family, community, with land and with each other. It speaks not only to our oneness, but to the sacredness of these connections. Thinking about today has given me the opportunity to reflect on the history that we, as all Australians, share and the future that we wish for. As Australians, we celebrate the uniqueness of our country with its trifold history of ancient land and peoples, its British history, which has established our systems of government and institutions, and our later history, described by Noel Pearson as the gift of multicultural migration. We have leaders, writers, and artists who have shaped us. And of the many names of which come to mind, we can start here on this headland, named after that strong warrior woman whose name has been mentioned more than once this morning, Barangaroo. There are those who have passed, to whom we pay our respects, including the great poet Ujuru Nunako and the leader Charles Perkins. There are today's leaders, including Lowitja O'Donoghue and so many others, and the elders who open us up to country, to culture, language and history, and their welcome. A dream which powered the Freedom Ride Bus in 1965 as it travelled through Walgett to Moree and the other towns. A dream at the heart of the Uluru Statement and of the many statements and petitions which preceded it. A dream for all Australians to have their and our rightful place on this land and in this land. To make this dream a reality, it must be based in our history. Rachel Perkins observed in her 2019 Boyer lecture that we here today are not responsible for that history, of that past, but we are the inheritors of it. And it is, I'm going to suggest, how we today accept that history, know that history, how we unify our dreams as one mob that will mark us out today for future generations. And let that future be one which is hopeful, which is exciting, which is uplifting. A future where, to use the words of Noel Pearson, we are one indissoluble commonwealth of people. Or, to come back to these words of today's ceremony, WugulOra, one mob. Australia gal yanya yabun, iora bujeri, yaragal bamal yarabuni. These are the first three phrases of our anthem in the Sydney language. Their direct translation, Australians do sing, a good people. Yellow earth, do not tire yourself. And that is a reminder that we are all custodians as we walk softly on this land which we call home. And let me finish with the last phrase of the anthem. Yiribana, Australia go. This way, Australians.
Thank you, Your Excellency. In a moment, Kumari will share their awakening dance with us. But before that, we'd like to acknowledge that one of their key members who joined us on so many occasions in the past is no longer with us. Cecil McLeod, proud Yuin man of Umbara, the Black Duck Totem, spiritual songman and cultural leader of the East Coast Aboriginal songlines, passed into the dreaming with his ancestors in June last year. In his time with us, Cecil delivered his songlines to Prime Ministers, Presidents, the Royal Family, and most importantly, hundreds, thousands of Australian school children teaching his culture. He toured the world, delivering his culture with ancestral energy spanning millennia. He touched millions of powerhouse songlines with his powerhouse songlines, and he made many of the events that we hold today on this stage stronger with his presence and with his performance. We will remember you, Cecil. Awakening is choreographed by 24-year-old Majida Beatty. Majida is a proud Withathi woman with ties to the Torres Strait, Moa and Arab Islands. She shares her story with people through her dance with the Kumari group. Awakening takes us on a journey into the spiritual realm. As the girls travel through this wondrous new world, they are shown connection to the land, people and the animals that surround us. Kumari Women's Dance Troupe. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honourable Dominic Perrottet, Premier of New South Wales.
Thank you, Curly. Can I thank Yvonne Walden for that wonderful welcome to country, and to the elders and the community for making us so welcome here this morning. I also want to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, traditional custodians of this land. I pay my respects to the elders, past and present, and extend that respect to other First Nations people present here this morning. It is always a great honour to greet the dawn of Australia Day here at Barangaroo as the sun rises on our nation. This headland is named after the powerful Camaragal leader of the Eora Nation who we've heard of and spoken of this morning. A woman remembered for her great pride in her culture and great strength in her actions. Here, we also stand in the shadow of the iconic bridge, an emblem of our British heritage, its legal, political and social institutions thrust upon this land to become a framework for generations of Australians. And beneath our feet, a land transformed again, where docks once stood and thousands of migrants took their first steps towards a brighter future on Australian soil, hoping to experience for themselves the blessings of a land of opportunity and abundance. And so many have, contributing so much to the nation we are today. In this place, the three strands of our history are present in all their complexity: First Nations, British and migrant. And today, we importantly reflect on how we can face the future with all three strands united. Still, our biggest failing as a country is the overwhelming disadvantage faced by so many Indigenous Australians. But I believe we have reason for hope. Today, important conversations are taking place. Hearts and minds are opening and changing. As a nation of people with such diverse backgrounds, we all have our own journey to make. And I know that from my own experience. When I was younger, and also as a Member of Parliament, I had the chance to work with disadvantaged Aboriginal communities in remote parts of our nation. It helped me understand the urgent need for action, and my focus was on practical reconciliation. At the time, I didn't believe symbolism could deliver real progress. But it was here, on this day, 1 year ago, where I had one of those conversations that changes your perspective. About how symbolic gestures can also drive pragmatic outcomes, and how the Aboriginal flag flying on our beloved bridge could make a real, tangible difference in the lives of our First Nations countrymen and women. And today, we are here on Australia Day for the first time with the Aboriginal.
Thank you, Premier. First Nations expression through music, dance, language and storytelling are important elements of the WugulOra Morning Ceremony. Our next performance of Kulba Yadai by Christine Anu, her daughter Zipporah and Raymond Sheck explores the grief of losing culture and the importance of passing it on to the next generation. Please welcome Christine, Zipporah and Raymond to the stage.
Kulbaya
performance, tune in to ABC tonight at 7:30 to see more of Christine Anu on Australia Day Live. To conclude this morning's ceremony, I invite the Borreagal Choir to perform the National Anthem. The Borreagal Choir are an intercultural choir that brings together Sydney's First Nations communities and University of Sydney students, staff and alumni. Their choir rehearse at the Redfern Community Centre and is directed by powerhouse WugulOra woman, storyteller, musician Nadi Simpson. They will sing the National Anthem first in Eora and then in English. To speak one of our language words is an honour, and it's to honour the teachings handed down through generations, despite colonial impact. In your program, you will find the Eora translation. Please join along and sing along with us to deepen the story and keep the local language alive. And now, we invite those of you who can to please stand for the Australian National Anthem. who passed away this year. In honour of Cecil, the Kumari dancers will now perform Gari Nimba Nami. This song is a welcome song and is traditionally performed every 3 years to coincide with the festival for the harvesting of the banana. Cecil was part of the songlines and bloodlines of this song and is a song that is being carried now through the southeast of Queensland and the northeast of New Zealand.
We're going to do our last farewell. This next dance is very, very special. song that represents the song lines that connect with this country. Knock your ears out from that big noise in the sky. Focus here, yeah? So we're going to do now, we're going to do a very, very special song that connects this country. Every 3 years we have a big, beautiful ceremony, a gathering that represents the good spirit and the good trades in our system of our people. We're going to bring this song here. My brother's going to tell you the language, speak the English language version, and we're going to sing that song. We're going to explain the song, but it's a very, very special song. Also to honor that beautiful man that you see in the picture. Yo, thank you. And when we finish today, please feel free to come down and share that Holy Spirit, the greatest spirit in this country. We call him Biyami, the creator. And that's his body there, ladies and gentlemen. That is the spirit of the Holy Ghost, the creator of our special people, our blood. Thank you. And you're quite welcome after this special song dance. Come down and join us for a quick couple photos. Enjoy that beautiful spirit and acknowledge our people and live like us. Be us, we are Australia, yeah? Here we go. We are one.
As the brother was saying, once every 3 years there'd be a large gathering that would be held in the Bunya Mountains area. And this is one of many songs that was sung to welcome in all of the good spirits of everyone's ancestors to the dancing ground. So we'd like to sing this song for you fellas, to say farewell to the good spirits of all of our ancestors from all over. And the translation for this song is this: Garing and Danami, here you have lived, Tujemo Birono, on a flat treeless plain. Kayan man marangai, now I make my camp. Jagun gun ganyongo, in this country I call home. Yo! Garing and Danami,
Ladies and gentlemen, Australia Day 2023, without Kumari, representing the Sunrise Ceremony people. Thank you, God bless, Niwatikina. Enjoy, happy Australia Day 2023. Thank you very much. Niwatikina ilang dari kanila.
Ha